this question about your explanation for why it was no surprise that the PKTT was disbanded. We've dealt with the Murray report, but in your statement, you also rely on what you call another event, which is a meeting that was held with the minister on the 1st of November. Let's go there, because you were provided with the draft minutes. And can you please take us to where in the draft minutes it speaks of the disbandment of the PKTT? And Chair, it's at file 6, page 499.
There are two page numbers, General, one red and another one black. So the red is 499, the black is 96.
Got it?
Can you tell us where in the minutes it refers to the disbandment? There's a decision to disband or a pending decision.
When in this document, Chair, you will never find anywhere where they say disband. But what you will find is the consultative discussions where the topic of the disbandment started, and where, in fact, the National Commissioner himself was saying it was just a task team that was meant to evolve into a unit. It can be done. That's all.
So it was just a discussion about. Sorry, can you just repeat? What did the National Commissioner say?
Let me quote the National Commissioner verbatim from the statement, okay, from the minutes.
That would be useful. Thank you.
General Masomoda indicated that the matter of the he further indicated that, okay, there's the inspectorate. I want to go specifically to a specific. He further explained that a political killing capability that is in place.
Where are you reading from now, Jim?
My apologies, Chair. That is now the last sentence. May I proceed?
Yes.
Yes, General.
He further explained that a political killing capability that is in place was in a form of a task team and not a fixed unit establishment. This other one is just too dark for me to read. But what I know from that meeting, from the minutes that I have, he said that it was meant to evolve into a unit and that it can be done.
Is there any reason we are not projecting this?
Sorry, I didn't. So, General, to start, you took us to the last line of page 502, right? right? And it says, and that he is the National Commissioner General Masmola. He further explained that a political killing capability that is in place was in the form of a task team and not a fixed unit or establishment. That doesn't say anything about disestablishment or anything. It's a statement of fact that what's in place was a task team and not a unit. It doesn't give us any information about a discussion for the potential disestablishment of the task team. Do you agree?
What gives me a little bit of a challenge, Chair, is that because I've been at the ad hoc as well, and then my file is marked, is underlined. Now, because of at this present moment, when I take a file like this and then I have to go through, now I have to start looking for what I want. So that is why I take a little bit of...
But for now, General, Ms. Hassim is asking you about the sentence you read. So I'm sure you are able to find that, because you read it just now.
This is a question, ma'am?
It's the sentence you just read, the last sentence on page 502, right?
Yes.
You've read it. I've read it out to you. I'll read it again. He further explained that a political killing capability that is in place was in a form of task team and not a fixed unit or establishment.
That's correct.
That is a statement of fact, right?
That is correct.
It doesn't say anything about disestablishment of the task team. Correct?
The paragraph, the sentence that I
Yes.
read, yes.
Okay. So is there anywhere else in this minute that it does talk about the disestablishment? And if you wish to, sorry, Commissioner. If you wish to look at your copy and then cross-refer to the page number that we have, whatever works, that's acceptable.
I'd rather do that, Chair, because I do know that this is the first consultative meetings in the executive meeting where the National Commissioner actually indicated that it can be done.
Okay, so you can have a look at your copy.
Yes.
Okay, so where in your copy, if you just take us to the page, so you'll see that these minutes at the bottom right, they have page 3 of 1 of 15 all the way up to page 15 of 15. So you can use that page reference for the purposes of your answer.
Chair, without, so that we don't waste time, can I come back to it? Can I do that, or should I, I don't want to avoid to respond to the question, but all I know is that I will find it somewhere in the statement, but if I can't find it now, then let me then read and
When you say statement, are you referring to these minutes?
yes.
Oh, all right.
Ms. Hassim, I think the idea to project was with reference to page 503 in particular. The General said, I can't see, and the same for me. But I think it may be important, in fact, what is there, because when you look at the structure of this document, and I'm going to take you back, if you turn to 501, the heading is slide 7, macro-organizational structure. And then you have a discussion that is recorded, and then it concludes at page 503, where it's blue. It says decision objective. And that's the format. And then the next heading is slide 8. And if you page through, you see that some decisions are made and directives. And I think we should look, we're now looking at what the General has read in isolation of the discussion under slide 7. under the heading slide 7. And I think we do need to see what those dark parts are and what the decision is.
So the two ways to do it. I mean, first of all, it's projected, but also I think your copy wouldn't have these highlights, so it would be easier to read. Is that so? Or do you also have that on your own copy, your personal copy? Because as Commissioner Baloy says, the relevant slide in this meeting is slide 7.
Slide 7.
Slide 7. So it starts on page, let me refer to page 2 of 15. It starts on page 2 of 15. And it goes to page 4 of 15. And it ends with decisions under that topic of macro-organizational structure. And what you've taken us to is part of the discussion before the decisions.
Chair, when we go to page 3 of 15, page 99 or 502, and then you go to the first highlighted one where they say, this is paragraph 3 now. The minister further indicated that there must be reconsideration and review of certain capabilities, such as the political killing task team, which are primarily about address serious crime. He stated that SAPS should guard against creating structures, units based on specific category, whilst this duplicate the existing capabilities such as taxi killing, political killing, all being about murders. This is where the discussions were also, some of the discussions taken place. Remember before there were some emails that were being sent between the National Commissioner, Mary Diaz, and other people. But then this was the executive meeting called by the minister in the boardroom, executive boardroom, with the top management of the police. And this is where this subject was ventilated as well, with the National Commissioner as well, not really against such. Hence, I asked yesterday for the recording.
Yeah?
Can I just, sorry, I do apologize.
Go ahead.
In that very last paragraph, what you've read, the very last sentence, this is the General Masemula speaking. He further explained that a political killing capability that is in place was in a form of a task team and not a fixed unit/establishment. Now, if you keep that line in mind, and then you go back to the earlier highlighted paragraph where the minister was speaking, and the minister referred to creating structures, units based on specific category, whilst these duplicate the existing capabilities, and then he refers to taxi killings, political killings, all being about murder. It would appear that General Masemula was in fact clarifying the minister that the PKTT is not a fixed unit. It's not part of the establishment, when in fact the minister had referred to it as part of the structures and units based on specific things. So that's all the significance of that very last line. It's General Masemula clarifying to the minister that it's a task team, not agreeing to anything, just saying it is a task team, it's not part of the fixed structure. I think if you read the two together, you'll see that what appears to have been happening here. But importantly, to the question of Ms. Hassim about the decision, we have a recordal of the decisions that were made in that meeting under the slide 7, where the PKTT and task teams got mentioned. In that decision recorded at 503, there is no decision to shut down the task teams and PKTT in particular. Otherwise, it would have been recorded there.
You may look at the screen behind you.
Perhaps you can just read the decisions
Yes.
and you can then answer.
The one on top, I was reading from slide 8. I'm sorry, Chair.
So what comes before that, that is what has the yellow highlights, is the discussion, and then the decisions on that are what Commissioner Baloy has just referred you to. You follow that?
I follow, Chair.
Yes. And Ms. Hassim now is saying, do you see that there is no decision there? What was it, Commissioner Baloy? That the PKTT must be disbanded. Where they are, the actual decisions now.
It was, at that point in time, Chair, it wasn't a decision taken that says disband or it must be disbanded at all. It was a discussion to say there must be a reconsideration. This is now the foundation and the beginning and the momentum as it started gaining. To say there must be a reconsideration of this because now we are duplicating resources.
So there's no, in the decisions, would you agree that there's also no decision that's recorded for a review to take place of task teams, including the political killing task team?
Unless I don't read English well. Because when I see here, it says the minister further indicated that there must be a reconsideration and review
Yes.
of certain capabilities.
Yes. So that we've read that, and we've, this is clearly the discussion that took place. But the minutes reflect the decisions, and there are 3 bullet points. And what I'm saying to you is that not only are you correct that there was no decision to disband taken in that meeting, but there was also no decision that a review should be conducted on the political killings task team. Because if there was, it would be reflected in the minutes. Don't you agree?
I agree.
And would you agree that even apart from these minutes, no review was taken of the political killings task team before 31 December 2024?
Because there was already a document that is in circulation, so there was no review.
There was a document in circulation. Which document?
This one of the one that we read earlier.
The Murray report.
Yes.
Okay, but the Murray report we've already established was talking about proposals for the future. I'm saying, was there a review ever undertaken? A review of the capabilities and value of the political killings task team before the decision on 31 December, between this meeting and 31 December?
I thought I responded, Chair. I don't want to be evasive. I want to answer a question honestly.
Was there, General, was there a review undertaken pursuant to the meeting of 1 November 2024?
Not pursuant to the meeting of the 1 November.
That was your question? wasn't
Yes,
it?
thank you. That answers the question.
You want to say something, General?
What pains me is that I'm being pushed into a corner of saying, was there disbandment instruction, yes or no? Was there a review? There was a document that is in circulation, where I also signed, where finally the National Commissioner at his own time then also signed and say implementation must be done by General Sibiya. So I wouldn't expect that there should be another review on top of a review that is running, that is already in place.
General, please understand what's going on here. We want to get the full facts. This is not about pushing you in any direction. If, as you say, there was something decided in accordance with the Murray report, you have said that. You have dealt with it. Now we are dealing with the minutes of the 1st November 2024. And you have read the highlighted part where part of which says the minister indicated that there should be a reconsideration and review. Now, you are being asked a different question now. It's no longer about the Murray report. It's about the meeting of the 1st November 2024. And you are being asked a different question. Was there a review? Because we want to get all the facts, the full facts. Was there a review pursuant to the 1st of November 2024? We are past the Murray report. That's why you've already responded to the question. I'm just giving this explanation to disabuse your mind of this idea that you are being pushed into any particular direction. That's not the idea. These are different facts. You've dealt with Murray. We are now dealing with the 1st of November 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And the reason we're dealing with the minutes of the 1st November 2024 is because you drew to our attention that this was a significant event that led to the disbandment decision of the 31st of December. So just to explain why I am taking you to the minutes. Now we've dealt with the minutes. There's no decision in the minutes to either disband or to undertake a review of an analysis and an evaluation of the political killings task team that we've established. But my next question is, despite this, was there any review taken of the PKTT between 1 November and 31 December?
The answer is no.
Okay, thank you.
But can I clarify something?
Yes.
Remember that this was a consultative process, because there was a statement made by the National Commissioner that there was no consultation. So this document was meant to demonstrate that no, there has been meetings, several meetings, consultative meetings. It may not be the meeting that says disband or a decision taken that now we are disbanding, but this thing was discussed, ventilated in several meetings, of which the 1st of November was one of them. Thank you, Chair.
But would you agree that in order to make the decision to disband and for a proper consultation to take place, there would need to be an evaluation, an impact analysis of the PKTT?
I don't agree.
So on what basis then would the decision be made? How does one assess then that there's no value being added by the PKTT?
When a decision is taken to disband a task team, under normal circumstances, in every task team, this is not the process that we follow, or that is being followed.
Who makes the decision? Let me start there.
The provincial commissioner can make a decision, or he who established a task team can make that decision.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I accept that, but I'm asking you whether there would be a review. There would be some basis, there would be a reason to make that decision. You don't just make a decision without reasons.
Yes.
Okay. And do you accept that in 2024, let me call it the sort of state of knowledge amongst the senior members of the service was that the PKTT was doing very good work.
According to their reports, General.
Yes.
And you shared that view, that they were doing good work.
Yes.
Okay, so what then do you say was, but you say that there therefore doesn't need to be any review. So if in 2024, you say they're doing good work, in fact, I think you agreed they were outstanding in their work, what changed?
What changed is the fact that from where I'm sitting, I'm focusing nationally. I'm not focusing only on KZN. Now, as far as I'm concerned, from where I'm sitting, the capacity that is in KZN does not exist in Cape Town, where I'm sitting with gang violence, where people are dying every day. El Dorado Park, Westbury, many other areas. I have also instances where other political killings that are taking place throughout the country, like in Madlanga, where they are not being attended by the PKTT. So which means we focus in the resources, a lot of money, a lot of budget only on one particular task team that is serving the interest of only one province. So I am national, looking nationally at all the provinces.
I'm not sure what the answer is, but let me leave it at that with your response, and ask you this: did you consult? You say there were consultations. Did you consult with the head of the PKTT, General Khumalo?
Remember, I'm not the one that was doing the disbandment, because in my case, I was just carrying out the National Commissioner's instruction. So in my case, was just to relay the message that I received from the National Commissioner to General Khumalo.
Sure, but I'm not yet there yet. I'm still before 31 December 2024. What consultations were there with the head of the PKTT before the decision was taken? We know there was no impact analysis, but was there consultation with the head of the PKTT? These meetings, including the 1st of November, those were the consultative process that were taking place. I personally didn't have to consult with General Khumalo because I was not part of it. I was not involved in it. Okay, are you aware of any consultations with General Khumalo on the issue of disbandment?
He was part of the meetings.
Was he part of this meeting on the 1st of November?
All the meetings, yes, he was part.
And in those meetings, concerns had been raised?
Yes, and he even presented in Parliament, and yes.
In November 2024?
No, I say there was consultative and he was in agreement.
He was in agreement?
Yes.
With the disbandment?
Yes.
General Khumalo?
All of them.
I find that very hard to believe, because General Khumalo has testified at length here as to the shock when he saw the letter, the instruction, on the 31st of December 2024.
When we are to believe that, that is what he was supposed to also demonstrate in Parliament on the 5th of March, to say that I was in shock when that was discussed. But that is not what happened. He said the minister gave a directive to the National Commissioner. There has been several meetings held, and the disbandment will take place in a form of in phases, and then the cases will be taken to murder and robbery unit. The provinces, all the 9 districts have stabilized. Only eThekwini district is still the one. So all I'm saying is that if he was not in agreement, together with the provincial commissioner and the national commissioner, they were in the meeting in Parliament, and they didn't
Okay,
oppose.
but that was after the decision was taken, General. So I just want to stop you, because I'm really only dealing with this small period in 2024. We have on record that the evaluation of the task team, the agreement was that they're doing outstanding work in the middle of 2024. And then somewhere along the way, something changes. And that's the period I'm talking about. And what changed was towards the end of 2024. I'm trying to understand at that point were there consultations with General Khumalo, and you're saying they were, and you're saying that he agreed that it should be disbanded. And I'm saying to you that can't be right because he's testified at length that that's not the case.
But the fact that he testified and said what he said doesn't mean that in the meetings with the minister, he did not really participate nor also raise concerns there or disagreed. Because if there was any such disagreement, it would have been recorded in the meeting, in the minutes themselves, that he was also not in agreement. But there's no such record.
Just to make sure you are not talking past each other, give us the timing. What time are you referring to? What period are you referring to, General?
Chair, I'm referring to all the meetings that were held since this topic was introduced in a meeting by the minister.
Minister Mkhunu.
Mkhunu, in a meeting.
Meeting of the 1st of November?
Of the 1st of November. So all the management were there, and this topic came to the fore, and it was discussed, responded to positively.
By topic, are you referring to disbandment?
Disbandment, referring to the reconsideration and review of certain capabilities such as political killings and inspectorate.
But my understanding is that Ms. Hassim is asking you about disbandment, General.
I can't hear the
I'm
chair.
saying my understanding is that Ms. Hassim is asking you about disbandment, not the reconsideration and review that we dealt with earlier.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Because we've moved off from review and reconsideration and those things. The question is about disbandment.
Yes. All I can say is that he's never visibly indicated that he doesn't want to comply or he doesn't agree. He hasn't done that.
General, can I just ask, maybe I'm trying to see if we can get to the answer of the question that you're being asked. This meeting is on the 1st of November.
Yes.
The disbandment letter is the 31st of December. What do you say happened after the 1st of November? Because on the 1st of November, the minister says there must be reconsideration and review. He expresses that view. And then we know it's not in the decision. The decision is not made. When you say there were discussions, what meetings or what forum after the 1st of November before the 31st of December were held with a discussion about the disbandment of the PKTT was raised, and where do we find a record of that discussion? Because it is an important topic, so I would imagine that it is recorded somewhere, and it would have been in a formal meeting. So I think you do need to be specific, more specific than saying it was discussed. You need to say there was this meeting and there was that meeting. And this is what was discussed, and this is the decision, and there has to be a minute of that meeting.
All I know, Chair, is that there was that meeting of the 1st of November, and then from there, it was just what was placed on the table. We all didn't expect that there will be a letter written, but on the 31st, the letter came. But in between, I am not in a position to tell what happened.
You're not aware. You're not aware, or you know there were no meetings between the 1st of November, at least none that you participated in, meetings between after the 1st of November there's no meeting that you know of or that you participated in that discussed the PKTT and made a decision it will be disbanded. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that I have never been in any other meeting. I have been in all the meetings where this was discussed, but between November and...
Those meetings are before the 1st of November. Remember, we are talking about a defined period. From the 2nd of November to the 31st of December is what we are trying to establish, whether there was a discussion and a decision from the 2nd of November and to a date before the letter of disbandment.
No, there was no any other meeting that I can think of now from the top of my head.
Okay.
Leading to the 31st.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
General, can I ask a question? Looking at paragraph 63 of your statement on page 23.
Page 23,
Yeah.
my statement. Yes, Chair.
I don't see any inconsistency between your statement and the minutes of 1 November 2024. But my question is really this. Was there a review by the SAPS Executive Committee as contemplated in paragraph 63 of your decision? Because you are part of that executive committee, not so?
It's correct.
You are. Was there a review by that executive committee which you are a part of?
Not at all.
So we know this did not happen.
This did not.
So what was your expectation as far as the existence of the PKTT was concerned after this meeting? So what is the next thing that you expected after this meeting?
What I expected was that since in the meeting the minister raised about the disbandment or the closure of the inspectorate and the PKTT, it was now a subject for discussion that at some point is going to happen.
And that did not happen. There was no discussion at some
There was no discussion in between because the National Commissioner raised certain concerns in relation to like your inspectorate and say it can be done, however, it's going to cost 1, 2, 3.
So the next thing you saw was the minister's letter.
On the 31st.
Before there was a discussion.
Yes.
And before there was this review by the executive committee.
That's correct. Since the 1st of November to the 31st.
Yes. So then why do you say General Masimula is feigning surprise when he says when he saw the letter he was taken by surprise? If you yourself expected that there were going to be discussions, there was going to be a review, is it not a surprise that a disbandment letter that directs that the PKTT be disbanded immediately comes before this discussion has taken place or before even the executive committee of SAPS has set to undertake the exercise which you say would have been the next step?
I would be surprised if this topic or this subject was never at any given moment discussed. I just saw a letter on the 31st. But if I know that at some point there was this meeting held and my contribution was this, then when that decision comes and it comes as a surprise, then as a National Commissioner, I will then take it up with the minister, revert back without pushing it further. So I'm saying, to me, he cannot say it came as a surprise because it wasn't the very first time he came to hear about the matter.
Not the review, the disbandment. Remember, the first time he's hearing of the disbandment is when he sees the letter. He might have heard about a suggested review, a suggested impact analysis, but that is different to a disbandment decision. The first time he hears about a disbandment is in the letter because the minutes don't say anything about disbandment. They talk about a review. Murray on the 6th of March 2024 talks about an impact analysis. So the first time the National Commissioner sees the word disbandment is on when he sees the letter of 31 December 2024. And that is the
When the chair starts looking at me like that, I feel threatened now. Because I know what is coming.
Well, can I say that I would expect, given how you've explained in this discussion with Ms. Hassim, where you, and Commissioner Kumalo, where you accept that the executive management was mandated or was going to have a discussion. That did not happen. And the next thing you became aware of is when that letter came. If that is so, on that version, I would expect you to say, I was also surprised, because we had a meeting on the 1st where the minister spoke about reconsideration and review, and then we as executive management were tasked, or we're going to have a discussion about this. We never had that discussion. The next thing that happened is there was this letter. That's what you've said to us. The next thing, there was this letter. I would expect you to say, the letter also caught me by surprise. Unless, of course, you knew that that letter is coming, which was not, and you would have known not through the formal processes and not through the documents that are in front of us. Somehow you would have known it. But you've told us I knew nothing about it. The last time we had this discussion was on the 1st of November. And after that, there was nothing. Executive management didn't discuss it. I expect you to say I was surprised.
Quite honestly speaking, Chair, I was not surprised for simple reasons. Remember, there are a trail of emails that were exchanged, even some of them sent from the National Commissioner's Office to the minister in relation to the political killing team and the suggestion that it be disbanded. However, in the meeting where the minister raised...
And you would have been copied. And remember, we are talking about the period from the 2nd of November. Let's not go back there. We know you had a meeting on the 1st.
Okay.
It had a particular outcome. So we're looking at from the 2nd of November up to the date that letter came out, what happened, right? So if you say there were a trail of emails, it has to be, because that's a discussion we are having now. We're talking about from the 2nd of November, and my question is, if that's the period you're referring to, when you say there were a trail of emails, my next question would be, where you copied, is that how you come to know about it? From the 2nd of November up to the 31st, where you copied in those emails, can we have copies of them if you were copied? If not, how do you come to know about them? But it's a specific window that we are discussing.
In between the meeting of the 1st of November up to the 31st, I know of no meeting or no consultation. I was never involved in any form of discussion. I also saw that letter as it was circulating now on the media.
Thanks, Shadrack.
Thank you. There's another peculiarity I want to raise with you. The letter of the 1st of November, we're staying in that period. But it's, in fact, not inconsistent with the Murray report. The discussion on the 1st of November wasn't only about the political killings task team. The political killings task team was cited as an example. So, was there any consultation on any other task team, any review that was done on any other task team other than the political killings task team after 1 November?
It was the inspectorate. It's not a task team. It's a division.
No,
it's a directorate.
But I just want you to confine your answer to task teams, because do you agree that in the meeting of the 1st of November, the discussion was about task teams and the political killing task team was cited as an example?
No. It was specifically about the political killing task team and inspectorate in that meeting.
Okay. And if you look at the minutes, let's just see the language of the minutes. It says there must be reconsideration and review of certain capabilities, such as the political killings task team, which are primarily about, I think he means addressing serious crimes. So it's cited there, such as an example. And then if you look at the second sentence, he states that the SAPS should guard against creating structures or units based on specific category while these duplicate the existing capabilities. Example, taxi killings, political killings, all being about murders. So he referred to the taxi killings task team. So this is what I'm saying to you, is that what was under discussion for review was not only the political killings task team, right?
Yes, I am aware that in the Eastern Cape, or I think Umtata, there was one, now I'm not sure whether it was disbanded or just established, but there was a political, there was a taxi violence killing. We sent a team down there that had to be disbanded as well.
When was that?
It could be round about the same periods. I may not be right. I may not be accurate with my date, but I'll confine myself to the question in relation to the task team to say it was set as an example.
It was as an example. So, which to me would also give one a reason to think that it's, let me put it this way. I would have thought you yourself would also be surprised that it was only the political killings task team that was being disbanded out of all of the task teams. You were not surprised by that. Is that right?
No, I was not surprised.
Why not, when the discussion was about task teams, not only the political killings task team?
I think I did explain that I've got a bigger priority. This task team is just a task team. I have a bigger priority to address the murders in the country, throughout the country, where people are dying in numbers. So this was just part one of a small task team that is taking a bigger budget that could be used to address a bigger picture. So to me, when that happens, it suits the program of making sure that we create a capable state throughout the country.
There are other task teams with big budgets, do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Some with bigger budgets than the political killings task team.
Yes, I agree.
And why then was this one singled out in your view? Because it was singling out, we can see that, of this task team.
I think there's a difference in a sense that when you talk about the one for illegal mining, it's a continuous phenomenon which is far bigger than the issue of the task team, and it is funded from CARA fund. And its handling is not only provincial. It's not only provincial, it is throughout certain provinces that has got the illegal mining problem.
Okay, but other than the illicit mining task team, what about the other task teams with bigger budgets?
I'm not aware of any that will have the similar amount of money because, in fact, we were crafting all the extensions and then the request for funding for the budget in terms of the millions. Sometimes they would be requesting for 37 million just for 1 month. Now, I'm saying, to me, I was interested in making sure that I capacitate the murder and robbery units, because this murder and robbery units, the same task team could just be plunged into the murder and robbery unit. Then you still have the same capacity doing the same job, but not in the form of a task team, but you having it as a unit with the same capacity.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to say to you that it seems very peculiar that only one task team is singled out of many, where others have bigger budgets. Some have been going on for longer than the political killings task team, have been in existence for longer than the political killings task team.
Just before you move on, just one question in the hope that there won't have to be follow-ups. General, on your point about why General Masemula could not have been surprised and why you were not surprised, you rely in your paragraph 63 on the minutes of the first, or rather the meeting of the 1st of November 2024, and you then refer us to those those minutes. What I want to know, because we have seen that the decisions themselves, which you were referred to, the highlighted part in the minutes, you saw there that there's nothing about the disbandment of the PKTT. Now, what I want to understand is your understanding of the words reconsider and review, which you use in paragraph 63 and which I used in the minutes as well. Fine, I'm engaging you at the level at which you debated or argued. That's not in the decisions, it's in the discussions in the minutes. But I will engage you regardless of the fact that reference to reconsider and review is not in the decisions. I just want to engage you at the level of your reliance on the discussion. Now, what's your understanding of the meaning of reconsider and review?
Reconsider
or review?
Chair, when I say reconsider your decision, I mean I would be saying that do you wanna reconsider your decision, because your decision that you have taken, I don't think you need that. Do you wanna reconsider? Now I'm saying reconsider. Just think twice or think again whether you really still need this. And when I say review, I say you took a decision that you might have to go back to and review. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is no longer really serving all the people of South Africa equally, or it's not making the necessary impact, or it's not giving us value for money, and you have it and it's continuing. Do you want to review that decision that you have taken? That is how I understand it, Chair.
Without suggesting that the two words are synonyms, do you accept, though, that both words admit of the possibility that the person being asked to reconsider or review may decide not to change their decision? You accept that?
I do, Chair.
Thank you.
General, you said that there were emails also after 1st November in response to the question from the commissioners about the surprise of the National Commissioner. You said he shouldn't have been surprised because there was a Marais report, there was a 1st November, and there were emails, and he was copied on those emails. What emails are you referring to?
I need assistance because we do have them here. I must just refer to them now because
Emails during what period, General?
it will be before November.
No,
Sorry? Sorry?
It will be before November.
From when? Oh, before November.
I take it that it will be before the November, because she asked me what emails.
All right, okay.
That forms part of the build up towards that meeting, towards the disbandment.
All right, okay, okay.
Chair, am I expected?
Are you referring to would you like to look at your statement again? Are you referring to the complaint by Mr. Haas?
That one and many others that were even referred from the Office of the National Commissioner by Brigadier Letoko and said this one must be dealt with by the minister. So those type of message emails were there. And then given a time, a chance now, I can look at it. It's just that at this point in time, I'm concentrating on responding. Now, being taken to now, I start looking, I look confused. But I have those emails. In the meantime, maybe my team can assist me in the meantime as I'm responding.
Oh, Mr. Asim, shouldn't we leave them for the general to try to find and perhaps produce, perhaps overnight?
Well, he refers to it in his statement,
Yeah,
and they're annexures to his statement. So maybe I could
Please,
assist the general to find it. At paragraph 69 of your statement, you say on 6 November 24, the Haas's complaint was circulated to the Office of the National Commissioner. And you say a copy of the correspondence at the end of the paragraph is attached as SS7. So maybe we could go there. Is that what you're looking for?
67 talk about 31 October Meridi House. I just want to get to all of them. This one is yours.
SS7 is file 2. And that's at page 192, I think. There's some superimposition there, but I think it's 192.
It is 192, Chair.
Yes.
Is that what you're looking for?
That is correct, Chair. This is what I'm looking for, but I see all of these ones from Babalwa Mbengo, 4 November.
And Mr. Haas is SS6.
SS6 is the complaint itself.
Yes, is that one, even those that went to Parliament, it's before November.
Well, it looks like the emails, the correspondence that you're referring to is on 6 November. And she seems to, if you look at page 193.
Page?
193, it's an email from Mr. Haas to several recipients, and then that is forwarded to the minister.
Yes, I see it, Chair.
Okay, so is this the correspondence you were referring to?
I think this is the correspondence I'm referring to.
Okay, and what did you want to say about this correspondence, that there was a complaint?
Yes, what I wanted to just say or indicate is that this discussion, the meeting of the 1st of November wasn't the real first discussion to discuss this issue. there's paperwork and build up towards that meeting of the 31st, because there were some complaints and there were some exchange of emails regarding the political killing task team. So, as far as I'm concerned, is that if this communication started as early as November, with few emails being exchanged, and then some of which has been sent to the minister by the Office of the National Commissioner, as far as I'm concerned, it was now a subject that was being discussed or under discussion. Now, if on the 31st of December, I see a letter circulating like that one, it was something that I saw, and we all didn't expect it, but it happened. But to say I was surprised, I can't say I was surprised, because it was once discussed, so it came. And the fact that even in the meeting of the 1st of November, the National Commissioner just indicated that this is just a task team, not a permanent unit. It was meant to evolve in a permanent unit, maybe. That's why I didn't get the shock of my life, because it was already a known subject.
Okay, I'm not going to go back to the 1st of November because we've dealt with that and we've said that the minutes don't reflect a decision. And I'm not going to reopen that unless you want to say something, you want to change what you've said earlier. I think we closed that off. I was trying to probe with you what other, because you said there were other emails. Now, we know that the emails you've just referred us to is this complaint from Mr. Haas. Wouldn't the appropriate thing have been to investigate the allegations that were made in the complaint? That would be the appropriate next step. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree that the allegations needed to be investigated.
And it couldn't be a basis to disband the task team without an investigation. The fact that a mere complaint is laid, and I don't say mere in a dismissive way, the fact that a complaint is laid against any unit or any task team or any person in the SAPS, any member of the service, is not sufficient to take action against that person or that team.
I think if I was the decision maker, I was going to be able to respond my way, because now this was the minister's decision.
No, I want you to respond your way, because I want to understand why. We're talking about why you were not surprised. You said you were not surprised because there was this complaint. It was already there on the table. So the question is, the appropriate response to this would have been to conduct an investigation into the allegations.
Yes, but it wouldn't still be what shall I call it, a game changer, in a sense that the fact that there is this complaint, among the many complaints that existed, or that, because people have been complaining, some of them, maybe other complaints about the PKTT. And if there's a decision that says, look, we have a study, we've conducted a study that says we need to recapacitate the murder and robbery unit. To me, I'm looking at it my way, commissioners. My way was, I want to capacitate and strengthen capacity in all the murder and robbery units. So to me, disbanding this PKTT would be a first prize.
Would be first prize?
Yes.
General, why not disband the taxi killings task team for that same reason? You're concerned about budget. You want to capacitate other units. You have the taxi killings, and the minister does say in that 1 November meeting that they, like the PKTT, are doing work that involves murder. And in his testimony before us, he said, all murder is the same. So why were you not thinking, oh, it's even obvious that the political killings team should be dissolved as well because you're concerned about budget?
Thank you very much for that question, Commissioner. It actually led me and assist me in being able to respond, actually, because first and foremost, how many politicians get killed? Let's take 1 to 6 months. No one. Or one. Taxi killings, people die almost every day or every week. When you look at what is happening in the gang violence, your Cape Flats, everything, where people are dying every day.
Sorry. So you disagree with the minister's suggestion in that meeting? Because remember, on the 1st of November, the minister mentions the political killings task team and the taxi, what he calls the taxi killings. So he didn't just say the PKTT. He referenced also that taxi killings task team, that there has to be a reconsideration and a review to collapse them into the murder, I think it's a murder and robbery unit. How you're starting now about the taxi killings task team is that you saying, well, you don't agree with the minister that there needed to be a reconsideration even of the taxi killings task team?
No. What I was basing my answer on is that the political killing task team is actually not such a busy task team, because politicians don't die every week or every second week. But we're maintaining it and we're spending millions on a daily basis in hotels. Now, I'm saying, from where I'm sitting, we could use the budget better.
In April 2024, you approved the allocation of further funds, which suggests to me, at least, that this position that you've now adopted and are justifying about disbanding the PKTT is an afterthought. Certainly you were not thinking that in April 2024, because you would have refused to make the recommendation to support the request for funding, or you would have made notes expressing your reservations, even as you recommend. But you don't do that. You give an unqualified support for request for funding. That's in April 2020. Sorry?
To be precise, Commissioner, it's 26 March 2024
Yes.
was the date of the general signature.
So in March 2024, you support a request to fund the PKTT, the very one that you say, well, I need the money. They're just sitting in hotels. I need the money, but you support it without qualification. You have to be able to reconcile that. Otherwise, it's a later change of mind about the PKTT, what you are now telling us, because your conduct in March 2024 suggests you did not have the concerns that you are now expressing after it is disbanded.
Let's look at the first date. Is there, when I recommended, is March 2024.
26 March
26
2024.
March. And at that point in time, it was in fact the very first time I'm included, even in the correspondence or communication of saying, we need budget. I can't stand on the way when they say we need budget. It must via my office. It was the first time, because it has never happened like that. Now it comes to me, I can't say no, and I can't question it, because this thing is being brought to me, that must go to the National Commissioner for signature. I say, yes, they are doing a good job, they sign, and it goes. However, when the issue of the study then comes to me at a later stage, remember, when it's my signature now on the document, evaluation document, it is at a much later stage, in 2024, when I signed and say that I've gone through these documents, and I see that the political killing task team's mandate fall in fact under murder and robbery unit. Now, I've murder and robbery unit everywhere in the country. We also have murder and robbery unit in KZN, but we also have a duplicate unit, task team that is running on its own when we have a murder and robbery unit. Take this capacity, put it in there. That is what in my mind came through.
So in March 2024, when you sign, are you saying you didn't realize that what the PKTT, that which you are approving at that time, they do work which falls under murder and robbery? Is that what you're telling us?
I didn't have that benefit of that report at that point in time.
Yeah, but I'm assuming you know about that there is a political kill, unless you say you didn't know that there's a political killings task team and that it is tasked to look into political killings, that it is the product of an initiative, an instruction directive of the president to an interministerial committee. Surely you knew all of those things, even before you were asked to sign for the first time. You must have known. Maybe let me take it step by step. Before the 26th of March 2024, did you know about the existence of the PKTT?
I did know about the existence of the political killing task team, and that it was a door no any other person was supposed to open.
Did you know what they were constituted to do?
To investigate political killings.
You knew that?
Yes.
And you knew that the political killings that they were formed to investigate are matters that even the murder and robbery unit can investigate. You knew that?
I knew that.
Okay, so you knew all of that on the 26th of March,
Yes.
2024.
That's correct.
And you still signed and approved funding, even
That's
though
correct.
you knew that.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ms. Asu.
Sorry, what I want to, can I raise one little thing?
Sorry, I'd like you to come in, but because it's linked to what Commissioner Baloyi was saying, you might want to respond to both. Because it wasn't only political killings. The PKTT was also looking into the killings of traditional leaders. They had their mandate extended to cover that aspect. And then they were requested to, of course, go to Fort Hare. So to just put it in perspective, it was a national task team looking at several areas of concern, not just the political killings in KZN.
Actually, that is where I was going when I wanted to say something, to say, remember that, and I mentioned it in terms of percentage, to say that political related, I don't know whether it's 18% or 24%, and there are drugs related. In other instances, it is not political related. In other instances, there's so many. When you look at that document that we wrote and say this document, all these cases are cases that were put in a fridge that were not being attended to. All of them, most of them, only something like 69 or 60 were political, but the rest are not political. Some will be land issues, but some will be. It does not necessarily mean that when a child of a councillor who was killed at the Shebeen is political related, but it would be something like those. So you will have some cases where they are not political related. It's just plain matter. And then in some they will say it's ad hoc cases or parallel cases. Now you have a unit that is just investigating everything, when in fact there are units.
Yeah, no, General. There's no disagreement with you that you had units that did the kind of work that now got assigned to be carried out by the PKTT. There's no disagreement. The same way with taxi killings task team. There's no question about that. The issue, at least that I'm discussing with you, is you now think PKTT rather, is a bad idea. It's a waste of money. Let's put the money elsewhere. And all I was seeking to establish with you was that that must be a view that you formed only after the 26th of March, 2024. Has to be, because you sign and recommend or support funding for them for another period in March 24. So it's a view you formed after March 2024, and I think we've agreed that. You've said up to that point, you knew they were there, you knew their purpose, and the work that they did, and you supported that. You give an explanation that, well, I didn't know anything. The National Commissioner, it had to go to the National Commissioner. I couldn't say no. It's difficult to accept that. That someone at your seniority, if they hold real, genuine views when they are given a document to sign, they wouldn't look into it and say, what is this, even if you didn't know. But you knew about the PKTT. So what I'm checking, or what I'm discussing with you, is something changed with you after the 26th of March. It has to be. Something changed that you now hold a different view about the PKTT that makes you say, of course they had to be disbanded.
Can I respond?
And the question, yeah, in your response, I would like to hear, what is it that changed?
Chair, what I want to say is that I was promoted to the rank of a Lieutenant General with effect from the 1st of July 2023. Now you count the months leading to March, when I signed, when you're still getting comfortable in the new position where now you're looking into various documents and various, how to improve service delivery or how to improve your office in such a way that it is able to be effective. Now, after that March, to where it was, I'm now in the system. I now know what I want to achieve. I now have had the benefit of being to El Dorado Park myself, Hanover Park. I've had a lot of experience of what I see, and I have now a report in front of me that says, we have had this study that looks into these task teams, and then because there is something that is attached to that I want to say, that make me more support the idea of the task team is not a good idea, is that I have this member carrying 600 docket, 800 docket, 500 docket, 400 docket. Now they're no longer working on this docket, but they're tired of this docket. But what they want to do, the shortest route is to say, I wish they can send me on a task team, and someone goes on a task team and they leave those dockets there. And those dockets must now go to the station, to the branch commander, who must redistribute them to other members who are carrying a lot of docket. Sometimes they say, oh, you think he's clever. He's going to a task team, he leaves this, they put them there. When you come back, after 2 years, 3 years, your dockets are still there. And they never worked on those dockets. So to me, the issue of the task teams. The task team is meant to go and extinguish the fire now, get it over and done with, come back to where you belong, not to be a permanent thing for years. So, the issue of the task team of keeping dockets, because even where these people that are in the task team left, you can't replace them because it is their positions. You're running short of manpower, they are there doing something else, but you can't replace them here because, and you remain empty here.
And that's not unique to the PKTT, right? You're not saying that that cannot be a justification, and certainly the minister doesn't rely on that. And in the documents you've referred us to, there is no such discussion as a consideration. But more importantly, yes, it's a concern, and there's probably merit to that concern that you're raising, but that's something that's not unique to the PKTT. When you create task teams, which the SAPS has a lot of, we were told, when you create task teams, that's the consequence, right? You get people leaving dockets, somebody else looks at, so it couldn't be a justification for the PKTT's disbandment.
I wouldn't want to get into that space because in my case, I don't want to speak on behalf of the minister as to whether it was the reason or not. But to me, it was a decision that I really didn't have a problem with.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Smith.
I just want to, did I hear you correctly when you said you signed on 26 March 2024 without applying your mind to it? Was that what you were saying?
I don't remember saying without applying my mind, Chair.
So it sounded like that. Can you just clarify? You said you just signed it on 26 March 2024.
I've never even also said I just signed it. I said I was just arriving. I was still getting comfortable within my position, still looking at issues and where to improve service delivery, and then which is what works and what is not working. But at that point in time, it was the very first time that I get involved into the PKTT. I've attended the meeting of the PKTT only once in KZN because I was with the National Commissioner. We went there to KZN, but there I've never known about their operations, and no any other person was allowed to know what is going on inside there. So that is why I say, to me, even when they put this document in front of me, I signed. I had to sign because they say to you, this is for the extension of the PKTT, for the political killing, and this is because of we are facing elections, we are facing that, so I had to sign.
You didn't have to sign, of course. You could have, well, one, you didn't, I mean, you didn't have to recommend. You could have not recommended if there were reasons to, or you could have recommended with qualifications. You gave a blanket recommendation, and that's the difference. You could have had qualifications attached to your signature, like other signatories have had.
The fact that I this time I applied my mind and then signed what the National Commissioner gave me to do, it tells you that at this present moment I was now working, applying my mind. I did exactly what the National Commissioner asked me to do, and I gave it in.
Which one are you referring to? Signing that?
Like for an example, whatever that happened, I just complied with the National Commissioner's instruction. So when you say I didn't need to sign, I was going to be regarded as now defying.
No, sorry, you misunderstood me. I meant that you either recommend, it's not that you don't sign, you either recommend That's what's the power that's given to you from the position that you hold, which is a very senior office, and there's a reason why it has to go through you before it goes to the National Commissioner, because the National Commissioner's signature comes after yours. So he is relying on others to have looked at it from their perspective to see what your views are for him to give final sign-off. So when you receive it, your task is to apply your mind to it and make a decision whether to recommend, not recommend, or recommend with qualifications. Do you agree with that?
No. Let us look at the current situation on what I'm going through now. Let us look at the current situation where
Sorry, I'm getting a note passed to me.
let's
Chair.
look at the current situation.
Okay. No, answer the question and then I'll address the note. Thank you.
Let us look at the current situation where there's an instruction to disband and it says immediately. And then personally, having disbanded units, having participated in many disbandment, we disband task teams on a daily basis. We move people around. Because of natural attritions, people die, resign, get promoted, transferred. To me, to disband immediately is not really a critical challenge or issue. Now, and then you also get the National Commissioner saying, yeah, but I said let's wind down. And then you decided that no, this thing can be done now. Look at where it put me now, at home. So the sentiments that says, you are a senior manager, you could apply your mind, doesn't work. Because as a senior manager, I said, but in disbanding the task team, there was an instruction from the National Commissioner and General Kumalo himself that says those members of the task team that have been trained from different environments, let them be sent to stations so that they can implement that what they've been trained to do.
But General, you're not answering the question. You're discussing something that comes much later.
Oh.
The question was, you are a signatory, you sign, rather. You're one of the people who are making a recommendation, have an option to make a recommendation, or I do not support, I support. I recommend, or I recommend with qualifications. Now, we know from evidence that General Dimbane did put in a note. She supported, but made a specific recommendation, a suggestion that these must be for budgeting purposes, to regularize budgeting. This task team should be regularized into a unit, something to that effect.
Discontinued.
Something to that effect. And the National Commissioner had a response to that in that same form. So you had the option at that point to say, I support, because you say, I'm new, I don't know this environment, but this work rightly is work that the murder and robbery unit should be doing, and maybe consideration should be given to that. I think that's what Ms. Hassim is putting to you, that you did have an option on that form to sign and recommend, because you don't want to get into trouble with the National Commissioner, as I understand you, and you don't quite yet have an understanding of what things are like, but you at least know the work that they do, and you know that it falls within the murder and robbery. So you could have said something, but you signed without qualification, which is what causes this debate. But on paper, you had no problem with approving that funding request. You had no problem with it on the documents that you signed.
Yes.
And it's only later that you pick up problems with it.
I agree.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chair, I think it might be best if I ask your permission to let Ms. Killian address you on the note that was addressed, rather than me addressing it directly with you.
Yes, Ms. Killian.
I'm a bit surprised as to what I should address.
Okay, the note that was,
Yeah, let's just, few minutes, you'll indicate when you're ready for us.
thanks.
Let's adjourn. Yes, Ms. Asim.
Thanks, Chair. Sorry, General, just one last question on this, on your response that you orientating yourself when you took the position. You said earlier that the work study, the Murray report, in other words, you were aware of that already by 2024, before you signed it in September 2024. Isn't that so? Because it was in existence for some time.
No, I wasn't aware of it because part of my complaint is the fact that documents sit for too long in offices. So if you see the date on which I signed, it's much deeper in the year. So I was not aware of that Murray report at that point in time.
So when did you become aware of the Murray report for the first time?
I think I needed a week to read it, go through it, and then sign it. So it will be around about a week.
Around about a week. You weren't aware of the work study that it started in 2019. You weren't aware of the concerns and the proposals that were raised until September, you say, 2024.
Yes, remember I was not in the employ of the subs at that time.
Okay. Chair, I'm going to move to a new topic. So if there are any other questions on the issue of the disbandment and the decision, now's the time. No. Thank you.
Please proceed.
Okay. So, General, I'd like to move now to post-31 December, to the issue of implementation. You said you became aware of the decision when it was circulating on social media.
That's correct.
And, but when did you get official notification?
On the 3rd of January from the Office of the National Commissioner.
And I just want to take you to your letter of 17 January. And that is SS 13, page 205.
These are your files. Where's my files? This one. SS 13.
Page 205. Let me know when you have it.
I have SS13 here, Mary. This is SS13 of my statement. I don't see page 205. I'm at SS13, so I'm looking at the other file. Oh, okay. Yes, I can see it. Is it? Then I'm far from the mic, so will it? I'll have to.
Well, you can use your version, and what you can do is just refer to paragraph numbers.
Can I just be assisted so that I focus on the mic? Otherwise, I'm going to face there. I've got it, Chair.
Thank you.
So if you wish to reference any part of this letter, General, you can refer to the paragraph numbers or the page numbers at the bottom. The small numbers in the bottom middle of the page. Okay, so this letter you prepared, is that right, on the 7th? Well, this is the letter that you say you prepared with the assistance of General Rabi.
Correct.
And, but you also said that you read the letter and you agreed with all the contents of the letter.
That's correct.
And in paragraph 2 of this letter, in the second sentence, you said this decision, meaning 31 December 2024, was informed by an assessment that the task team no longer significantly contributed to policing efforts. What assessment were you referring to here? Because as we know, you've said there was no review or analysis of the task team. So what assessment are you referring to here?
This letter, I think, must be read in conjunction with the minister's comment on that meeting of the 31st, on the 1st of November, considering the fact that this letter that we are talking about comes from the Office of the National Commissioner, as directed by the National Commissioner to assist me to craft this thing. So this letter. So even though I signed this letter, I think there is a general agreement and understanding that this letter was signed by the Office of the, comes from the Office of the National Commissioner. So commissioners to be really bound on to certain words and say, what were you meaning? What were you referring to on this document that was prepared by the Office of the National Commissioner? And then saying that I can sign it because it's directed to DIFCOM intelligence. I will respond and I will attempt to respond, but to be fair, this letter, from the very onset, it is known that I am not the author of this letter.
So, again, we have a signature by you on a document that's a lengthy document, but you disavow the authorship of this, the ownership of this letter.
It's
You
not
comment on that.
It's not a difficult question that you are asking. I'm just worried that we all agree that it comes from the Office of the National Commissioner,
Well,
and that it can be signed by me. And when I read it and I went through the contents, to me, it was a plan on how to go about in disbanding. I signed it.
I'm not that doesn't sound like a full and candid response, General, because what you've said, first of all, let me just say, this letter is not a letter that's prepared like an information note is prepared, and you see who the author is of the note, and then you have a signature that recommends, you endorse it, in other words, a letter that's, a document that's prepared by someone else. It usually then says it's prepared by somebody else. That's the first thing. Right? You agreed, this is not that kind of letter. It's not an information note kind of letter where it says it's been prepared by someone else. Right?
It is that kind of a letter that it is prepared by someone, because it was sent to my office from the Office of the National Commissioner.
Well, no, it was a draft that you had prepared together with General Rabi. General Rabi was assisting you. That was what you testified to yesterday, and that's what's in your statement, that General Rabi was tasked to assist you to prepare this, and you explained why it would be involve General Rabi because of the nature of the letter, etc., and that's completely acceptable. There's no problem with that. But you have to satisfy yourself that you are happy with the instructions that you are giving, because this instruction doesn't come from General Rabi or from the Office of the National Commissioner, it comes from you. It's not on the National Commissioner's letterhead, it doesn't have his signature, only yours.
It goes out, simply put, it goes out as your letter, General.
It's true, Chair.
Signature at the end is yours. You are not recommending to anybody. You are signing a letter that's yours. And even at the top under inquiries is Lieutenant General Sibiya. It's your letter.
That's correct, Chair.
Yeah. Yes, Ms. Hassan.
Thank you. So can I go back to now the contents of this letter and ask you questions about it, because it's your letter?
Yes.
Okay. So the first question I had was, what was the assessment in paragraph 2? What was the assessment that was done that concluded that the task team no longer significantly contributed to policing efforts?
That is a question that is based on the. Can we go to the letter that itself that was written by the minister, because I think the words originates from that letter itself.
Okay. So you're saying that this is a reference to the minister's assessment?
I think so. So we need to get to that letter. SS.
Page 198, same file. General, did you find it?
I found it.
That's on 197.
Yes, I found it, Chair. Commissioners. I need to get the one that is written in, because this one is very small font, very small. Either I can see it here or a document, the real document, because this one is, you can't read.
Do we have another version of it?
Yeah. Blow it up a little bit more, please.
Is that
General,
legible?
do you want to look there?
Yes, I can. Yes.
And, you may then indicate whether to scroll up or down. Yeah.
Can I, let's go to the first sentence. Just discourse. Well, injustices in the first few months towards the end of the year. I have made observations on a number of important aspects on the SAPS and policing. For purpose of this letter, I'm focusing on the 3 aspects that require very urgent attention to address some of the challenges at hand. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Chair and Commissioners, to say I trust this correspondence find you well in this festive season. In the past few months, towards the end of this year, 2024, I have made observations on a number of important aspects on the SAPS and policing. For the purpose of this letter, I'm focusing on 3 aspects that require very urgent attention. Now, we can go to the one of the political killing, number 3. All right. Management Executive Committee meeting later in January 2025. Key reference points to include, but not limited to, the following: a comprehensive analysis of the current challenges of scrutiny. No, this is the port of entry.
Yeah.
It's point 3.
Point 3.
Can you,
I want the one that speaks to political killing.
Point 3.
Yes. In 2019, a directive was made to the National Commissioner of Police following the Moerano Commission report, even though not flowing directly from such, that an interministerial task force be established. The key mandate was, I don't know whether it's stop, what?
Can I suggest that you go to the next page? It's clearer on the next page. That one, yes.
In 2019, a directive was made to the National Commission of Police following the Moerano Commission report, even though not flowing directly from such, that an interministerial task force be established. The key mandate was to stop, investigate, resolve unresolved matters of politicians in the country, especially in KwaZulu-Natal. My observation in this regard, as indicated above, is that further existence of this team is no longer required, nor is it adding any value to policing in South Africa. I therefore direct that the political killing task team be disestablished immediately. Further, that a preliminary report in this regard be submitted to the Minister by the 20th of January 2025. The final and closing report must be submitted to the Ministry Management Executive Committee meeting late January 2025, the date of which will be communicated as soon as possible. So this paragraph, to me, responds directly to the question asked by the evidence leader, I think.
okay, you say that the assessment that the task team no longer, what you mean is the observation by the minister.
This is the minister saying, this is the observation that the minister made.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's clear. What he had said in his letter was it was an observation. In this letter, you detail steps that need to be taken in order to...
Just to go back to the letter,
SS13, it starts in 205.
SS13, all right. You need a big one. Gosh.
Do you have it, General?
Yeah, I'm back to the same problem, but it's okay. I'll try to hold on.
Well, what's the problem? Perhaps we can assist.
No, because the document that is in front of me.
No, you're looking at the wrong page. It's page 205.
Whoa, I'm okay. Thank you very much.
This is the letter that we began with,
Yes.
right? We've now dealt with your answer to the question that I asked pertaining to paragraph 2, okay? And this letter is a detailed set of instructions for compliance with the minister's directive. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I just want to ask you some questions based on this. In paragraph 3.4, on page 206, you say all case dockets must be hand-delivered to a location designated by the Divisional Commissioner for Detective and Forensic Services. who must establish a secure repository for case files and evidence to ensure continuity and prevent any loss or tampering. These dockets will then be reallocated to appropriate investigative units with the capacity to continue the investigations. So this was a requirement that the dockets be delivered to the Divisional Commissioner, Detective and Forensic Services. Is that what one should understand by it? Is that right?
That's correct?
Okay. And where would that be? In head office?
No.
Where is the Divisional Commissioner for Detective and Forensic Services?
I think I said at the place determined by the Divisional Commissioner.
So it could be any place in the country?
It could be any place between, in KZ and where the dockets are.
So it would be removed and be taken to a location where there would be a secure repository?
Yes.
Okay. And you say you didn't mean that it should go to the DivCom, Detective and Forensic Services at head office?
No, I said it must go to her.
Yes, but not physically delivered
I never
to head
dictated
office?
a place where.
Okay. And then you asked for, if we can
But it could have been head office as well.
It could have been head office as well.
Thank you, thank you.
And then in paragraph 4, you ask for a comprehensive closing report to be submitted by 16 January, confirming compliance with the aforementioned directives. Now, I think this has come up before. This letter is dated 17 January, but you ask for the report to be delivered the day before. Do you want to comment on that?
I think at the much earlier station, I did indicate that at some point, because it looked like I gave them a day or two, because it was signed on the 17th, and then here the date was the 16th. In other words, it came, I don't know what caused the confusion in between when I received this and when I signed this, but I accept the typo or the error that exists here because I said on the 16th, but I signed on the 17th. So, quite honestly speaking, I'm lifting my hands high up in the air on this one.
Okay. Then you ask, then you detail what the report should look like, how the report should be structured. And in 4.1, you say it should, let's just start from before. The report should be structured according to the following guidelines. 4.1, executive summary. In the second bullet, you say summary of key considerations that resulted in the decision to disband the task team. Now, this letter is addressed to the head of the task team, who did not support the disbandment of the task team. How would he have been able to prepare a report? And I've got a few questions on this, but my first is, how would you expect him to prepare a report that explains the considerations that underlined the decision, that were informed the decision of the minister? How would he know?
Earlier, I indicated that he never really indicated that he does not support at all. Even the National Commissioner never indicated that he's not in support. So he never indicated that he does not support.
You're saying General Kumalo never indicated that he did not support the disbandment of the task team that he was the leader of?
Yes, he never.
Sorry, General Sibiya, when you drafted this letter, you could not have known that because you had not engaged with General Kumalo at this point. So when you drafted this letter, how did you expect him to comply with the second bullet in 4.1? Accepting that in March, when you did engage with him, he didn't express a disagreement. You signing this letter on the 17th of January, and you have not spoken to him at all about the PKTT.
That is correct.
So how did you expect him to comply with bullet 2 when you signed this letter? That's really the question.
Chair, because when I read this letter, I write it as positive as possible, knowing that this is an official document with the Minister and the National Commissioner's blessing. So I write it to him. And then if he himself was not in agreement, he would have responded to this letter, also in writing, and say, I see you wrote this letter to me, but I'm not in agreement. But instead, we don't have that. So he never indicated that he's not in agreement.
Had you had a discussion with General Khumalo about the decision between 31 December and sending this? Did you have a discussion with him, informally or formally, or pick up the phone, anything to say, this is a decision that needs to be implemented?
I did respond earlier that I never had a discussion with him, and considering the fact that it was also around about the festive period when everyone was still at home and some had not come back yet at work, and some of us were all over the country because it's still within the festive period.
Okay, so you don't really know what his state of mind was regarding the decision?
I didn't know.
Okay. Now, how would he, even if he, let's assume that he had no problem, he didn't make the decision to disband the team. So how would he come up with the reasons? Why was it expected of him that he must provide the reasons for the decision?
Normally in the South African Police Service, when you get an instruction to write a document or to come up with an information note or what on behalf of the National Commissioner or the Minister, you will pen down a document that is just going for the signature for the National Commissioner or the Minister. You will then take this document, go sit with the National Commissioner and discuss with him. So now in this case, since this is what was discussed and clear guidance given and him submitting the reasons, it is what is contained in the reason, in the document, guided by the fact that the author of this document, I do own the document, Chair, because I signed it, but as assisted by a person who is dealing with reports in the South African Police, who is at strategic management and who has done organization and work study, and say this is the format that you need for you to have a complete document that actually represent or present a close-up report. It needs to have the following topics. Now, those topics that are written here, we are all guided by an expert in this document, myself and General Khumalo.
Wouldn't this be in a report that is written before the decision is taken?
No. No, because it's not a question of we were all expecting that there will be a document coming that says we're closing down. So nobody would have known that now I need to start writing, preparing the reasons for close up, because we didn't expect this to happen.
But in the normal course, before a decision is taken, wouldn't the decision be underpinned by reasons, and those reasons would be located somewhere before the decision is taken?
It's true. But when I look at the letter of the minister, the few lines that is written in the document itself, the few lines that are written in the document itself, from the minister's point of view, whether as a minister of police, who determines policy for the police, he gives reasons from his own understanding and where he comes from. And now, which means the National Commissioner, before we get to this point, was in fact the one who was supposed to immediately, when he received this letter, take the same letter, go back to the minister and say, Minister, I want to understand where you're coming from. I don't agree with 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we hold on until I come back? Or make me understand. But the National Commissioner instead forwarded it and say, prepare a close-up report. Is already on board by so saying, and say, prepare a close-up report. So this is a late question as far as I'm concerned.
General, this is a letter that you signed and that you send to General Khumalo, and you ask him to give you the reasons for the disbandment of the task team. Does that sound like a reasonable request?
We're not asking him to give us the reason why the task team should be closed. We're saying prepare a close-up report. In your close-up report, it must include the following topics. Where General Khumalo needed to ask a question, it was then for General Khumalo to make necessary inquiries with the office of the ministry or myself and say, General, you just sent me this document. And then how do you expect me to write this when I don't know? Then in my case, I would also have to go back to the minister and say, Minister, General Khumalo wants to know the following, so that we can then provide the reasons. But at this present moment, I'm dealing with a letter that comes from the Office of the National Commissioner, brought to me by a strategic management executive manager, which is a general from the National Commissioner's office, and say, the NASCOM says, no, you can sign this thing.
I guess, General, the substance of the question is, as you are writing this letter, I won't bother about referring to General Rabi, is it? Yeah. As you are writing this letter, because it's your letter, what key considerations or reasons did you, as the writer, expect of General Khumalo? It's a simple question.
To me, Chair, I was following the guidelines, the guidance by General Rabi from the Strategic Management Office. And this letter is a letter that I know that even the National Commissioner saw. So as far as I'm concerned, I signed it because it had the blessing of the National Commissioner.
But it goes out under your hand. And in response to a question of mine earlier, you said you accept it's your letter. So bullet 2 of 4.1 is basically written by you, and you are asking for key considerations, which I read to be reasons. So what reasons did you expect of General Khumalo? Because bearing in mind that he did not disband the PKTT.
This letter, Commissioners, as General Ravi wrote this letter, he gave guidance. It's a guideline that says, give us a comprehensive close-up report must be submitted by 16 January, confirming compliance with the aforementioned directives. The report should be structured according to the following guidelines. Now, it gives different topics. It's guidelines. Now, which means you're not necessarily expected to even provide the reasons for disbandment if you don't have them, or if it's something that you cannot write, or you could either write back and say, may I be clarified on the following key issue, so that we are able to then guide you further.
Thank you, General. Ms. Asim?
Thank you. So it was free to General Khumalo to not do that if it wasn't something that he was within his knowledge, which of course it's not in his knowledge, right?
I suggest so.
And-
Ms. Hasim, it's 4:15. Let us adjourn at this stage.
I have no objection if you continue or adjourn. We're
Now
available.
you want me to look lazy, Ms. King.
I want to stay neutral.
General, should we continue?
Let's pull through, let's continue.
Okay, let's adjourn at 5 p.m. then. Let's continue.
All right, Chair, so let's continue through the letter. You then request I'm going to move over to the next page, 4.5. Input from key stakeholders in response to the announced disbandment of the task team. For example, comments by NPA and SSA. Now, would there not have been consultation with these key stakeholders prior to the disbandment of the decision to disband?
This letter serves as a guideline and all the necessary important exercises that needs to be done or what needed to be considered or done. Now, in this case, the consultation with key stakeholders was one of the key issues to attend to. And as General Kumalo later indicated in his correspondence that they also made use of this same document, they took certain key topics out of that and then also allocated action plan, and then they allocated such an action plan to the National Commissioner in terms of consultation with stakeholders. But they were all guided from this document.
That doesn't answer my question. My question is, would there not have been consultation with the key stakeholders? And so the input from the stakeholders would be sought prior to the announcement of the disbandment, right?
The answer is really the same answer, because this document, no one expected disbandment, no one expected this letter. There wouldn't have been any prior consultations with nobody, because the answer will remain the same. For as long as we're still sticking to wasn't there supposed to be a consultation, the answer is the same.
General, maybe Ms. Hasim as well. If you look at 3.7, paragraph 3.7 at page 207, it says, so this is, as I read this letter, the whole of paragraph 3, it's steps that must be taken, the whole of paragraph 3. And then 3.7 says stakeholder communication. All internal and external stakeholders must be notified in writing about the disbandment, the transition plan for ongoing cases, and the future protocol. That's in 3.7. And then the paragraph that Ms. Hasim is now discussing, 4.5, stakeholder feedback. It is feedback on the task in 3.7. It doesn't answer the question, Ms. Hasim's question, that should there not have been stakeholder engagement before. But I think 4.5 makes sense when you look at 3.7. Because after disbandment, the plan says, now tell all your stakeholders what your transition plan is and future protocols. And then 4.5 requires your report to state what their feedback is.
Thanks, Commissioner Beloy. The question remains the same, because it would mean that there would only be communication to stakeholders after the decision is made. So my question is, and this is an important question because the PKTT was made up of multiple stakeholders itself, including...
Before the question, and please hold your thought on it, I just want to make an observation, General, on what the last thing you said just now. You said you did not expect, and you are not referring only to yourself, but I think you are referring to everybody. You said you did not expect this letter, and you said it twice, now.
Yes.
And you have said it twice already before. I think the first time you mentioned it, you said, we all did not expect the disbandment. And then you said it again later. You've said it 4 times.
That's correct.
I find it rather odd that you say you were not surprised and that General Masemula should not have been surprised when all of you say 4 times, did not expect this. I'm just making that observation and to have it on record. You may continue, but if you want to comment, General, you may.
I really wish I want to comment, Chair, and it is with respect as well, I'm not challenging the Chair. When I say General Masemola cannot say he was also shocked or surprised, I'm just banking on the fact that it was not the first time we all saw a letter was just drafted, having not had any discussion prior at all.
But you don't expect it, and I would think you must be surprised when you see it, when you did not expect it. That's the point I'm making.
If the chair calls me one day into a meeting and say, General, I'm concerned about 1, 2, 3, 4 that is happening, and I think we really need to re-look into this situation and that, and then go think about it, but we need to reconsider this or to review this, look into that one. Then I indicate and said, no, but I don't think it will make any problem, there's any problem in this regard.
You see, there wasn't okay, continue.
Then I say, I don't see any problem, I think it can be done. Then it all goes quiet. It's festive season now, we're all over the country doing festive season. Later in the year, in the end of the year, the 31st, I see a letter coming through. It will come as a shock, but not surprised, because I know about it. It was once raised. And then my job will be to then call the chair and say, Chair, I see this letter, and I'm surprised or I'm shocked that
You see, you can't avoid saying you are shocked, you are surprised. You can't avoid saying that.
I'm saying
because that's actually what should ordinarily happen in those circumstances. You yourself cannot avoid being shocked or surprised, General.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
No, my advocate warned me and say, don't go for the second time with the chair. Just remain. Once you see he raises something, don't repeat it. So I'm taking a short left now.
Thank you, General. Yes, Ms. Asim.
Thank you, Chair. So, that's not unrelated to this letter that we're looking at. And maybe I should cut through, actually. This is your letter. It requires communication with the stakeholders. It requires the summary of the reasons for the decision to disband. It requires an analysis of the task team's effectiveness and impact on crime reduction, an account of controversies, a cost-benefit analysis, all of these things. All of the contents, these guidelines that you send to General Khumalo and say, prepare a closing report. All of this points to a report that's trying to justify the decision. Do you agree? All of these items that I've just read out, and you can look at it more closely if you wish to.
May I ask to please repeat the question?
So the guidelines, all of these guidelines that you're talking about, you're saying these are guidelines. And I refer you to some examples. One would be in 4.1, the summary of key considerations that resulted in the decision to disband the task team. 4.3, the bullets under operational review of the task team and its effectiveness. 4.4, any controversies and issues that arose during the task team's operation. 4.5, input from key stakeholders. 4.6, cost-benefit analysis of the task team's operations. 7, legal and compliance review, summary of any legal challenges, compliance or governance issues encountered. 4.7, data and security management. All of these that I've read out, are guidelines for a document that is intended to justify the decision.
No. No.
This is not about okay, explain your no before I go to the next question.
It is not an attempt to justify, because remember, this document was not crafted by the minister or myself. The bottom line here is that as much as I am the signatory of this document, it went past the eyes of the National Commissioner. We cannot really take out the National Commissioner from this letter because it was discussed with him. Even before it got sent to me, it went past his hands. He saw it. It came to me. I own the document because at the ultimate end I had to sign it. But if this document came from General Ravi straight to me, I would take absolute full responsibility. But if it went via the Office of the National Commissioner, brought to my office by a general working with General Masemola, to me, we are both in this thing together. So all I'm saying, Chair, is that I accept the responsibility for drafting this letter, but because of the fact that my commander, my boss, saw it and was satisfied with it. If he saw it and he didn't agree with it, General Sibola was wrong to bring it to my office.
Can I test my observation with you, General? Looking at this document, here is my observation. What it contains is guidelines that are usually followed when you close down a task team or a unit. And in the normal course, all of these things would have happened before the decision is taken, correct?
That is correct.
So that when you then prepare this report and you give them 2 days to submit it, they already have in their possession feedback from the NPA, feedback from the other stakeholders. They already have a breakdown of resources. They already have summary of legal challenges. But if you produce a document like this after the decision is taken, it doesn't make sense because you're saying to them within 2 days, go to NPA and get NPA's feedback, go to State Security Agency and get their feedback and response. And that's impossible to do it in 2 days.
Before you answer, just to the tail end of that is, the question was, I had asked about the NPA and the SSA, and I said specifically in the context of this task team, because they were part owners of the task team. They had a very serious role to play. They were members of the task team, the SSA and the NPA. So consultation would have been before it.
remember,
decision.
it was a multidisciplinary task team. It was not just the police. It was other disciplines, including NPA, including State Security Agency, including other role players. So the simple observation I make is that in the normal course, how you shut down a task team or a unit, you would have done these things in advance so that when you ask for a closeout report, it can be produced because you have all these things in the normal course.
In the normal course, it is what ought to have happened.
Yes.
Firstly, I want to raise this issue. The fact that I signed it on the 17th, I said I'm raising my hands that I made it was a mistake. It was the date, maybe, I don't know how it happened.
General, stop there. I even gave you a benefit of a doubt and say maybe you were expecting a response by the 20th.
Yes.
Because remember, a report was...
Yes.
So, assuming that 16th is a typo, you were really expecting all these things by the 20th. So you sign it on the 17th. When would anybody get input from NPA, input from SSA, input from all, in a space of 3 days? That's impossible. So hence I say what this document shows, to me at least, not to my co-commissioners, is that you've taken a guideline that is normally used to shut down units and task teams. And you've tried to apply it to a situation where the minister surprised all of you by shutting down a task team without your knowledge. And you're now really trying to do a closeout report after the minister has made a decision.
I accept that, commissioners, and then I want to say that if we all are to accept that this was a guideline, and that was sent to, let's say, General Khumalo, who's the project coordinator. Under normal circumstances, what General Khumalo ought to have done was to look at it and say, it looked like there's a mammoth task here, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done that may take actually 30 days or 2 months. And this is my schedule in complying with the minister's instruction. Considering the fact that I think it was a preliminary report or the closer report. It was not the final, because the final report was going to be submitted at a much later close-up report. Even when I spoke to General Khumalo, he did raise these issues. He said to me, General, there are a lot of people that are involved here that must be consulted, and everyone else, and having consulted with everybody, and then the report will include all the information, including the documents that are at court and everything. So it wasn't expected that this thing will close like tomorrow or just by the 20th it will be closed. It wasn't expected like that. But it kick-started the discussions to say that this thing is now closing. So for General Khumalo, all he was supposed to do was to just go and sit down and craft a response that suits what he needs to achieve and how he's going to achieve it, and then present it before the minister or to me, and then I go to the National Commissioner again and say, NASCOM, I received this from General Khumalo, and this is how he sees this thing working. And then if we were to then thereafter say to him, no, we say it close by tomorrow, then we would have overstepped the mark. But if it was given to him, and then he didn't see it fit that he should respond. Instead, they did comply and wrote a report. Although I was not favored with the copy, it just went to the minister. So the same thing they did.
Now, General, can I pause you there for a moment? Because it's a long answer. I was trying to allow you to finish, but it's taking too long because you're really not answering the question. And from my side, it's not, you're talking about what General Khumalo should have done. My question on this letter comes from an interest of what you should do and what is reasonable conduct by you. Why did you think sending this letter with all of these requirements or guidelines, as you put it, why do you think it was reasonable to request that? It's not an answer to say, well, General Khumalo should have come to me and told me this is not reasonable, it can't be done. I'm asking, why did you issue it in the first place? Why did you think it was reasonable?
You see, Chair, when you work in the OD, organizational development, or you have done work study, and then you learn how to write a report writing, and they give you to say when you write a report, firstly you start with the background, and then the introduction, the background, factors that lead to the investigation, then you come to points that you need to raise, like when you do a thesis or whatever that you write, there's a format. Now, as General Rabi, you say, all right, I'm writing this document, I'm expected to guide the organization in coming up with a closing up report. I suggest that here are the guidelines. Work within these guidelines. Now, these guidelines that I'm sending to where they belong. Now, the person who must then respond is the one who must now begin now the action steps. And how you begin the action steps is that you will say, you can even write back and say, all right, I've received the guidelines, and then this is my program on how to implement these guidelines that you have sent. Then you bring all those guidelines. And as you bring all those guidelines, I will take the same guidelines and they will go back to the minister and say, Minister, this thing is not as easy as you think. There is more work that needs to be done, and the following will be done. So that is why I take it that we all had a responsibility to bring our side. In my case, it was sent to me to sign, I sent. But from the side of General Khumalo, supposed to acknowledge, look at it and say, right, I've gone through this letter, this one is possible, this one is possible, this one is possible, this one will need so much time to do, to achieve, this cannot be done, and this is how I also suggest it must be done. Let's say even the winding down. Then you will write the same letter and say, I suggest that it must be done in phases. Now, you are openly responding to this letter, because it's an official letter that comes from the Office of the National Commissioner to me to send to General Khumalo. So I'm still believing that it could have been handled that way.
Except General, at paragraph 3.2, you give an instruction that has immediate effect. You say, effective immediately, all investigative personnel must report, are directly accountable to the Divisional Commissioner for Detective and Forensic Services until they are reassigned to alternative units. So even if the rest of it you say it's a guideline, and I can see why, in parts, why you would say that, but that's not all there is in this letter. You give a direction that is effective immediately, that must be implemented. You're changing the reporting structure, effective immediately. That to me doesn't seem like a matter that's open for debate. It's the same as the minister's letter, which says immediately it disbands. It doesn't allow for a back and forth with the minister. The same as that your accountability, paragraph 3.2.
If the chair remembers very well, or commissioners remembers very well, there was at some point a newspaper article that says the minister sent them packing, where, for an example, there was a meeting held, and then in that meeting, that what was expected in terms of giving feedback on the progress in terms of the complying with the instruction was discussed, and only to find that not much was done or nothing happened. And the minister expressed his dissatisfaction around that issue. And then when he expressed his dissatisfaction around that issue, now, the small boy there is me. It is the minister, is the national commissioner. Both of them, CI and DIVCOM, reports to me. I am the one who accounts when we are sitting in that space. When we are sitting in that space, where is the minister, the national commissioner, the two DIVCOMs? and myself, I am the one now accountable who must respond. Now, in my case, when I realize that now it looked like I'm now the one failing, because the National Commissioner is quiet in the meeting. It's not objecting to anything. It's not disagreeing with anything. Now, I'm sitting here being told that, but you guys don't listen. This is what was needed, and I'm not being taken serious. Now, it looked like I am the one not taking the minister serious or the National Commissioner serious. Because even the National Commissioner was not really objecting to anything. So, where I begin to also strengthen my hand to say, let this happen, let this happen, let this happen, is to try now to be hands-on and say, let's move, let's not delay.
No, General. We know that this letter was sent to General Khumalo before that meeting with the minister that you're describing. We know that. It's the first thing that comes out of your desk. Yes, assisted by General Rabi. But your first act, and you say in your statement that from I think General or Lieutenant Letoko, you received this 31 December letter, and with an instruction to prepare a closeout report. You say all of that. And then this is what you prepared with the assistance of General Rabi. And what I'm pointing out to you is that which you prepared, your first act on this in 3.2 was to order with immediate effect a different accounting line. You say PKTT with immediate effect is now accountable to Divisional Commissioner for Forensic Services until they are reassigned to alternative units.
Just going through the letter.
Okay.
May I respond?
Yes.
Yes. In an attempt to make sure that we don't lose track or anything falling in between the cracks, you end up having to tie this thing to somebody. To say that now that we are in the process of disbandment, and we are saying, if we are saying effective immediately in terms of the disbandment, now we are talking about the issues of the case docket now having to report to go to murder and robbery unit. So that is why in my case I came up with that, this effective immediately was just to comply with the instruction of the National Commissioner, and then was to say effective immediately, and then the person who will now be in charge of the workload, it will be the DIFCOM detective services. And those that of intelligence will continue doing their part, reporting to where they belong.
Thank you. Ms. Asu?
Thank you, Commissioner. I just want to, you haven't answered the question why you thought it was reasonable. You gave a very long response, but you didn't say why you thought this was a reasonable request to issue this letter with all of these guidelines. And it's not just that it's lengthy, it's not just that it will take time, but it's that what's being requested is to provide the reasons for a decision from someone who did not make the decision. So I'd like your response on that, because I'm saying to you that's not a reasonable request.
I thought, commissioners, how I responded was that this was a guideline. This was a guideline. And it being a guideline, it needed to be treated as a guideline. Where Commissioner Kumalo, General Kumalo, had a different approach or response to it, or opinion, different opinion, he would have also responded as such, in such a way that he also brings his side of the story.
So he could have come back to you to say, this is just not possible to be done, and you, when you sent it, you expected that that would be the kind of,
yes,
that was your expectation.
he has done it before.
It doesn't make sense because it doesn't tally up with what Commissioner Beloy was putting to you about you requesting immediate action on this. Nor does it tally up with the requirement in the minister's letter that a closing report must be provided by 20 January, which was 3 days after you sent this letter. You can comment on that if you wish.
Chair, my mind was still locked into a previous discussion when she was talking. And then when she was talking, said it doesn't make sense and this, and then I'm thinking on certain things. Now she says your comment on that.
Please repeat the question.
I apologize.
No problem, General, no problem.
What I was saying to you, General, is that your last response to me, which is that they're just guidelines, you didn't really expect that it would be done in 3 days. In other words, that was your response to my question, surely this is not reasonable. You said, well, you know, you didn't expect. He could have come back and said it's not going to get done. And I'm saying that doesn't make sense in the light of the contents of this letter, which require immediate action, or in the context of the letter from the minister, which required a closing report on the 20th of January, 3 days after you sent this letter. So that's what I'm saying to you. That's a comment I'm making. That's the observation I'm making about your response to me about reasonableness. And I'm saying to you, do you wish to comment on that?
Yes, I wish to comment. In our world as police officials, it would make sense and it would be easy to comply with. In your world, maybe from where you are coming from, it's something that may need to take 6 months, but in our world, if I give an instruction, it can be done in 3 days. It can be done in a week. It can be done in 2 weeks. So, as far as I'm concerned, there has been instances where they say, this must happen by tomorrow 8 o'clock, and it happens. And the rest will follow. This is how it works in the police, maybe even in the defense. But it does not necessarily make it create a situation where we can say it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you're saying it's reasonable within the police service, this is how SAPS works. It's reasonable within the SAPS to send a request to a person for reasons for a decision that that person never took. Because that's what this is. It's saying, give us the reasons. It's a whole report that justifies everything up until 4.8 of this letter, the bulk of this letter, 4 pages, is a report.
To consult with stakeholders, and we're talking SSA and NPA, it takes one telephone call or one email that says there needs to be this meeting, the way we have to discuss the minister's letter. Are we able to meet on such and such a date? Where you're consulting with the stakeholders. And then they all will compare their diaries and then agree that, okay, in a week's time, there's going to be that meeting, those stakeholders, because you don't need to go meet each and every prosecutor on the ground. What happens is that from General Masemola, the National Commissioner, as it was his responsibility task there, he was just going to meet, let's say, the National Director of Public Prosecutions, or send me to go meet the DPP, or send the provincial commissioner to say, go meet your counterpart, the DPP there, and discuss this matter of the national commissioner. Now that can be done to say, what are the dynamics, what are the challenges, so that whatever that is being raised, then it gets put in writing, then there's a response back or feedback to the national commissioner, to the minister. So all I'm saying is that it is doable, it is possible, it is not a question of it could not be done. It's just a question of really there's not really that much of a crisis. Disbanding this task team is a small task team, by the way. It could just easily be done easily. And confirming with the stakeholders, to get a meeting of the stakeholders is easy. There are instances like where, for instance, you have to get for forensic establishment of forensic, where to get public works, get the Department of Justice, get that one into a meeting to go and discuss an urgent matter. It happens. So all I'm saying, I'm not downplaying or undermining the process, but what I'm just saying is that it is doable.
General, can you just look at 4.9? I mean, this letter is a very confusing letter for purposes of what was sought to be achieved. In 4.9, the heading you say, closure plan, detailed implementation plan for the orderly disbandment of the task team, steps for transferring or archiving, reallocating resources and managing personnel transition. What in fact were you saying in that 4.9 supposed to happen? Practically, what would have happened?
A detailed implementation plan for the orderly disbandment of the task team, steps for transferring or archiving of data, reallocating resources and managing personnel transitions. And this is what I think I see also in that action plan that was crafted by both General Kumalo, that was submitted to the minister and approved by the minister partially, where they said, on this date, we are going to do this. On this date, we are going to consult with stakeholders. On this date, we are going to hand over the dockets. On this date, we are going to write the final report.
So that's what you were contemplating in 4.9?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to move off this letter, Commissioners, unless there are any questions from...
Perhaps let's start a new topic tomorrow. Let's adjourn and resume at 9:30.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.